The next murderer.
Our next story involves two Chinese gamers getting into a dispute over a rare in-game item. When one player betrays the trust of another, things quickly get criminal. This story begins with an old online game, Legend of Mir 3. Legend of Mir was a top-down isometric MMORPG released in 2004. Developed by South Korean studio We Made Games, the title was immensely popular in Asia and once maintained an active player base of over 750,000 users.
That's a lot!
While the game itself is now defunct and serves as a forgotten relic of the MMO era, a criminal case stemming from the game is still talked about today. This infamous tale begins all the way back in 2004 with two Legend of Mir players, 41-year-old Chu Chongwei and 26-year-old Zhu Taoyuan. Chu and Zhu both lived in the Chinese city of Shanghai, and while they knew where each other lived, they didn't really hang out in person. Most of their friendship existed on the internet through the Legend of Mir. The two would occasionally team up in the game to clear dungeons and hunt for loot in the Legend of Mir world. And speaking of loot, any of you watching that are familiar with MMORPGs know just how much drama rare loot drops can cause.
Yeah, I want that ring. I do.
Alright. Who else wants it other than rogues? Because all the rogues can't roll on it. Khan, what are you doing?
What the fuck? Oh my god.
What the fuck?
Oh my god.
I mean, a dispute over a rare item can cause year-long
They changed like the system for that, so it was the right
implode from within.
right people
Which,
get
of
it.
course, brings us to the topic of the dragon saber, a sought-after, high-leveled, and graphically impressive melee weapon. The red dragon saber was one of the rarest drops in the Legend of Mir, an item coveted by all and wielded only by the luckiest and wealthiest of in-game players. And that being said, one day
Look, it looks
Chu
sick.
was playing with another
It looks
in-game
sick.
player named Lee, and they just so happened to get the item as a drop. Upon the discovery of the drop, the two would make a pact, agreeing to basically share the dragon saber and lend it amongst themselves when a person needed it. Now this is where Zhu comes back into the equation. Eventually he would learn of Chu's dragon saber drop, and he also learned that Chu was cool with lending it out to people. So one day he asked Chu if it would be okay for him to borrow the item as well. Chu, feeling as if he could trust Zhu, at some point lends out the blade to the 26-year-old. And for a short time things go well with Zhu hanging onto the blade, not doing anything shady with it. But like many other legendary blades in fiction, sometime after wielding it, he starts getting devious thoughts flood his mind. The man gets greedy. While in possession of the sword, Zhu finds himself browsing eBay and notes that people were selling Legend of Mir items on the site. And to be specific, he noted that some Legend of Mir dragon sabers had been selling on eBay for close to 8,000 yuan, an amount that comes close to $1,000 adjusted for today's inflation. For a virtual sword, that's a pretty hefty price tag. After learning of the sword's real-world value, that's when Zhu makes the decision to betray the trust of his online associate and sell the blade. The dragon saber would eventually sell to an anonymous individual for the price of 7,200 yuan, which comes out to approximately $900 adjusted for inflation.
That's
crazy. Time
crazy.
would come for Chu to ask for the blade back from Zhu. And whenever Zhu informed him about the sale, that's when Chu became enraged. Chu would ask for some sort of monetary split from the blade thief regarding the sale.
Fair enough.
The idea was entertained by Zhu for some time, but no money was ever doled out and the guy ghosted him. Furious, Chu would go to the police over the matter, explaining that someone had stolen his online item. But to his surprise, police informed him that there was nothing they could do about it because digital property wasn't considered real property under the law. So technically no crime actually occurred. Seeing that no justice would be served, that's when Chu takes matters into his own hands and hatches a sinister plot. In October 2004, reports say that Chu would travel to Zhu's apartment complex on Kipu Road in the city of Shanghai. And in the early hours of the morning, the incensed man would break into Zhu's residence.
Jesus
Zhu is awoken by
Christ.
the intruder, but before he has time to process what's happening, he's attacked by a knife-wielding Chu Chongwei. Chu would go into a blind rage, brutally stabbing Zhu in the chest. The man would pass away sometime later. Likely feeling that he got revenge from the situation, Chu would then turn himself into police. Chu would eventually be convicted of murder and was initially sentenced to death for his disproportionate response to having his item stolen in a game. However, the sentence...
Yeah, I was just about to say, that is such a fucking childish reaction. Obviously, like, he killed him. But, like, that's crazy. That's insane. Damn. Okay, this is, like, not a comparable story. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But, when I first started playing World of Warcraft when I was 10 years old, I was using a sub-account of my dad's, and I got my main character, Curly Sue 99, which is the lore behind my original Twitch name, Curly Sue 99. Anyway, I got my hunter, human hunter, up to like 80, level 80. Then my dad took that character, and moved it across to his account, got to the next 5 levels, and said, "It's my character. I leveled it up to 85." And I was like, what the fuck? So I had no character to play anymore, and I had to like start my own. And I was a literal child, and it's like having your balloon popped, right? Like I spent all of these hours after school leveling it up, blah blah blah. I never reacted. Maybe I cried a little bit, but I started a new character and got on with it. I did not kill my dad. He is still living and breathing and talking today. So that just goes to show that sometimes no one should have childish reactions. Even children, they should never childish react. That's fucking crazy.
The family of the murdered young Zhu is
crazy.
Saying this: "We want you to die."
I know, my dad should be like, he should watch this video and be like, you know what, I'm lucky. My daughter, oh, such a blessing. Such a blessing. The guy did some SAO shit. Yeah, fucking hell. Hi, Freaky. How you doing? So yeah, that's my little story time. But I was a genuine kid, and I didn't even react. I was like, anyway, this is fucking crazy. This is like psycho, like crazy, brain dead shit. This is like, damn, they're living in their own world, right? Like completely own world, like zombie apocalypse land. Like no one else exists except for this other guy who stole my shit, and I'm gonna go. Like very main character energy, you know?
And immediately.
Stupid.
While no such capital punishment was ever executed, Chu will have to live the remainder of his days knowing that he threw his life away over an item in a game that doesn't even exist anymore. Was it worth it?
Nah, that's fucked.